Zero.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to this week's Kiwanis Club meeting. I'm Michael Brocka. I'm pleased to be serving as your president. I want to recognize April Farmer, who's visiting us in the room today. April, we're happy to have you here. Everyone in this room reports to April. She's our big boss. I'm also happy to thank Jean Bollendorf for taking the lead last week while I was out of town. Thank you, Jean. That's a sample of what you'll see beginning next year when she takes the podium full time. Now we have a card going around for David and Sherry Hartman. Just this past week, if you read your email from John, you know that they had an unexpected event in their lives. Brother-in-law passed away. Hartmans are up in New Jersey attending that funeral. Now, I am dressed for St. Patrick's Day. I have some green on, so we should all celebrate the fact that we are now all Irish. Some of you, if you're like me, and I know I am, also celebrated Pi Day. Pi Day. Pi Day is held every March 14th, as in 3.14159, blah, blah, blah. And lastly, today's the first day of spring. We do welcome spring. Now, Milton Hardy's coming up to give the introspection, and then Harry Zulof's going to do the flip.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Can we just give a hand clap for women? That was your cue, men, to clap for the ladies in the room. Let's try it one more time. This is Women's Month. Can we give a round of applause for all the women in the room? That's what this introspection is about today. As we celebrate Women's Month, let us honor the spiritual essence within every woman. Each woman carries within her a divine spark, a reflection of the sacred feminine energy that nurtures, heals, and empowers. Let us recognize and uplift the strength, wisdom, and resilience of women who, through their spirituality, embody love, compassion, and grace. May this month be a reminder to honor and support the spiritual journey of women, recognizing their invaluable contributions to the world, their vital role in uplifting humanity towards greater harmony and unity. Here's to you. Thank you. Oh, by the way, Harry said he didn't want to hog up all the time, so he wants me to go ahead and do the pledge allegiance.
Do it.
What he wanted me to do, so we're going to do it. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Thank you, Milton, and thank you, Milton. Now, Harry is coming up to introduce our guests. Okay, Mike's already introduced April Farmer again, so I'm going to go right to India Houston, who's going to be speaking here, but she did say that she's considered joining our organization. So, you know, and Jay Galton, where's Jay? Second time, third time here, and Sam's his host. And there's an application form, I think, going to be turned in for him. So give him a round of applause. Now, everyone at every table, there's got to be some one of you knows a friend you can invite to a meeting next week, 2 weeks from now, whenever. Pick up the card. There's one card on each table, and pass it around. Okay, we need new members, okay? Thank you. Thank you, Harry, spoken like a true champion of our membership committee. So, it turns out this is the second week at KPAD. Turns out there's a report that's going to be given. And I'm told this is going to be a dynamic and compelling, inspirational report from past President Ben Spiker, who's serving as this year's KPAD ticket sales chair.
Woo-hoo! We've had a really good week of KPAD ticket sales this past week. And we'll be very excited to honor the top performers. Is Mike Loveman here today?
He's on Zoom.
Mike Loveman's knocking it out of the park. We're going to have him come up here and tell us all how he gets it done. He's one of those that maintains a list, goes back every year to his list and maintains that year over year. And he's definitely knocking it out of the park so far this year. Congratulations to our teams. Again, the #1 team is Joe Gaither's Luke Ford is the name of his team. That's and Joe's not here today. He's out selling tickets. This is his second bubble wand. That is also a lightsaber for those of you that need a bubble wand. We can do that. There are a couple of things going on. I'm going to ask Jean if she would come up and talk a little bit about the raffle that's going on. We are also on the front of the ticket. You'll notice that we are partnering with the craft show again this year. So your KPAD ticket also provides admission to the craft show, which I think they charge for that separately. So, you know, it's kind of a twofer sort of arrangement. So be sure and get out there, get your captain psyched up. Let's get out there and sell some tickets. This week's turn-in was 4,657. Joe Gaither's team is ahead with $1,863. His top performer is Mike Loveman, who's turned in $1,050 so far. The #2 team is the Droids, Joe Limmer's C3PO Droids. He's at $1,253. The #3 team is Milton Hardy, the Ewoks. They're at $1,071. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. I'm on Milton's team. We're trying. Lois James, Death Star Destroyers, is at $800 so far. Kevin Reeder's team, which is the Rogue Squadron, is at $620. He was the winner last year, so he's got some ground to make up. And Nancy Horn, the Galactic Guardians, her team is at $450. So those are our standings so far. Let's get out there and get after it. Jean? Yeah. Go ahead.
We know we have the raffle that's going on for the Star and all, but we're going to do an inter-club raffle. Everybody got $350 worth of tickets. If you sell all your tickets and your total is at least $350, your name is going to be put in a hat, and we will have a pretty big prize for that person. We don't have it all together yet, but it's going to be pretty big. Anyway, but yes, so go out there and push it, sell your tickets, ask anyone, well, pay some in your pocket. So just go up to anybody and say, hey, buy a ticket. Don't even ask them, just say, I need $5. And just give the tickets.
important for our team leaders. Should you be the one to win the lightsaber bubble wand, this is a bubble wand. It is not a Jello shooter. Do not drink this. Do not go to the hospital and send us the bill. This is a bubble wand.
Well, that's a great idea. You've given me a great idea.
So those are some great trainings, everyone. We're really excited. Let's just keep that money rolling and keep those tickets out there. I've also received a lot of tickets to give out to some of our nonprofit partners, so that's really exciting. We'll be able to pass those around folks to get a free meal with us on the day of the event. So Ben has asked me to help explain the raffle that we're doing at the Kiwanis event for you all. So instead of doing a yard sale or a silent auction as we've done in the past, this year we're going to do a raffle, and we're actually going to sell raffle tickets at the event. And so that's going to be a new volunteer position as well. And what we're going to do is we're going to ask club members to help us collect approximately 30 items. The items will be on display at the event, and then folks at the event will buy tickets that day, and they will drop their tickets in a container next to the event that they would like, object that they would like to win, and we will stage the raffle drawings during the event. So, you know, maybe for 1 hour we'll make 10 drawings. People can take an item home when they win it. Okay. So that's how we're running the auction this year. Dan Lincoln-Hofer and Lori Baker-Lloyd are both running the auction for us, the raffle for us this year. If you have items, you can give them to me. You can also drop them off at Leanne's office, which is Roanoke Valley Hearing. And we are looking for items that are a minimum of $25 value. If we have multiple items that are lower value, we may group them together. Thank you.
Our last note is that we're making progress on sponsorships. We've received Haley Toyota's sponsorship check already, so we're on our way. That's a $5,000 check. So thank you, Haley Toyota, for your continued support. If you know of anybody that you would like for us to talk to as a possible or potential sponsor, please shoot us a line so we can reach out to them and see what we might be able to do for them in that way. We're also continuing with the Roanoke Star auction this year. That will be occurring shortly after Pancake Day. So there are plenty of opportunities out there for us to continue Mr. Brock's outreach team. Thank you all.
So I have a question for the KPAD team. I was wondering when I can sign up to volunteer. Does anybody know the answer to that? This is what we call a setup.
My plan, if I accomplish it, is to have the sign up online by next week. And then after that sign up, each week I'll have a QR code. Randall says that. So you can sign up, and there will be people each week to help anyone that's having trouble doing it. So if I accomplish my goal, it will be next week. All right.
Thank you, Harry, for playing along with the setup. So we have a couple announcements. It turns out that quite a number of you were drinking margaritas last week at the Mill Mountain Social and Theater event. Larry Kufel deserves a lot of thanks, as does Amy, for that. Let's give it to both of them. Shortly after all those margaritas, some people got together to talk about the prayer breakfast. Is there a relationship? I don't know. The prayer breakfast is coming up. It's on the calendar, of course, that's on our website. Also coming up, Harry Zulop is running the membership committee meeting tomorrow morning. Panera. We'll have a little coffee, maybe some breakfast, talk about the membership items that are important. And then Many of us are going to join Fred Jeter later in the morning, spread mulch on the Mill Mountain Playground. Now, Fred's here today. I'm going to talk about Fred. Fred's what we would call a relatively new club member. And yet, he's running an event for us. Fred, that is outstanding. Thank you very much for doing that. It's even more impressive when you know, as I know, you're about to find out, that he just started a new job this week. Congratulations to you, Fred. We could use one or two more pairs of hands for that mulch tomorrow. It's not heavy lifting, but more hands will be preferred. There may be snacks involved. Let's see. On Friday, Gene and the KPAD team are meeting at Montano's to talk about whatever it is that you have to talk about to have a successful KPAD. I ran one of those last year, so I know how much effort was involved in that. Also on Friday, there's a Zoom for the fun day that we're holding this spring. We hold that each year in partnership with some neighborhood organizations. We hold it out near the playground and the nature park. So they'll be Zooming on Friday. Dave Perry is here. Speaking of Zooming, he's going to Zoom with the Environment Committee next Monday. I'm looking forward to that. And it's at noon on Monday. Got it. Let's see. Speaking of prayer breakfast, which I just was, wasn't I? Tickets are going to go on sale next week. So Ken Briggs and Bruce Swanson can help you with a ticket. What is it, about $8 or something? Yeah, $8. Okay, good. Now, on April 13th, I have your whole day booked for you. So there's no reason for you to look at your calendars. I'm now telling you what you're doing. In the morning on April 13th, you're joining Gene and the KPAD crew in the Daisy Art Parade. At 11 o'clock, the Kiwanis float will debut. It will walk down the parade route. Kiwanis float, by the way, is an 8-foot paper mache Larry the log perch. So we're promoting KPAD, we're promoting Kiwanis, we're promoting the nature park. As soon as you finish that up and get a little short nap, I'll meet you over at the Wasena Bridge for the party before the bridge closes. Bridge is permanently closing. There's a neighborhood party. We are partnering with the Wasena Neighborhood Organization. About 10 or 15 of us, some of you I'm hoping, will be volunteering to pour beer. I'm not saying you have to drink it. And staff the Kiwanis booth. So what are we doing on April 13th? Somebody said we're drinking beer. That's half of it, but that's after you're marching the parade. So thank you very much for that. This brings me to the time for braggarts. Anyone in the room, anyone at all that has $2 that they want to part with and donate to our foundation can stand up here for 30 seconds and say something. Now it has to qualify and meet these criteria. I have to find it interesting, and it cannot be controversial. And I understand John Bradshaw is coming up. And did I say, John, it's only 30 seconds?
What's the cord?
Oh, time's half up.
I don't see why any old president can't talk as long as the new president. I want to make a brag today. Not my birthday. Matilda and I went to the Mill Mountain the other night, Thursday night. And though I didn't enjoy the music that much because I was kind of out of age with the music that was there. You know, 41-year-old, 91, no, what is it? 91-year-old don't enjoy the music of that nature. But I'll tell you that Matilda and I thought the food was outstanding. Yeah. We we thought that the call was wonderful. The social life, the using of the space up there, and I think you all missed a hell of a good program, and I want to brag on it. Thank you.
This somewhat kind of falls in line with what Milton was talking about with celebrating our women, and I want to celebrate my mom today, who many of you have been thanking for and sending good thoughts and vibes as she works through her cancer, and I'm happy to report that her last scan came back as normal as it could be, which is great news because that means we will just continue living our life as we are right now. And she is incredibly strong, so strong that right now she is with my father, who is at UVA in ICU, who suffered from a terrible fall on Wednesday and was airlifted to UVA. So it is a true testament as to just what we can do when we have to show up for our people. And for anybody that would like to put my father, Tim, on your list for thoughts, good vibes, or anything, we certainly would appreciate it. And again, just incredible woman to look up to, my mom, everything that she's been through, everything that she's doing now, and how strong she continues to be. So thank you so much.
What's his name?
My dad's name is Tim Harmon.
It's terrific news, not about the father, but about the mother. We hope that ends up resolved quickly. Any other braggarts in the room? Well, then it's my turn. Beth and I left town 10 days ago. We went to Texas to visit our son. He's in a brand new job, in a brand new city, at a brand new university, in a brand new house. We are living through the accomplishments of our son. Many of you know exactly what I mean by that. That's my brag on him. Yeah, really. So speaking of bragging now, JC is going to come up and brag a little bit about our speaker.
Good afternoon to all of you. I'm happy to introduce this young lady to you today, who may, in a short time, become a member of this great organization. Her name is India Houston, and she brings a rich background to her role as Director of Administration and Development at Apple Ridge Farm, where she handles both fundraising and nonprofit accounts. She completed her studies at American University, majoring in business administration and minoring in psychology. Having excelled in administration, management, and human resources across corporate and small business environments, India found her true passion in her current position at Apple Ridge Farm. I think she's been there about 6 years or more. She's deeply committed to the organization's mission of positive impacting the lives of underserved children and their families through transformative educational, cultural, and outdoor experience. India serves as key liaison, nurturing relationship donors, spearheading fundraising initiatives, and collaborating closely with the executive director and board of directors. She endures the seamless operation of the farm's daily activities, manages budgets, payrolls, and contracts, and maintains financial transparency. She also is plays an important role in the Apple Ridge Farms golf tournament. I have had the opportunity to play in for many years, and she takes the money every year. And it's strange, when I get up, I never get to know what my fee is until I get to the desk. Whereas Peter has a way of telling me what I owe. So don't get to know her too well, because she'll do you like that. In her capacity at Apple Ridge Farm, India considers herself fortunate to serve as a driving force for positive change, actively contributing to making a meaningful difference in the lives of vulnerable youth. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you Speaker for the day, India.
Thank you so much for allowing me to speak today. Thank you, JC, for that really, really nice introduction. Everything you said about Apple Ridge is true. So, is this good for everyone? Sorry, I have to put this up here so I can control my presentation. And if someone could dim the lights slightly so you all can see the presentation. Before I get started, I just would like everyone to take a little trip down memory lane. And for some of us, it may be a bit further back than others, but I'd like to know if anyone remembers anything from their summer camp experience, if they ever got to have one, that still makes them smile. Yes, sir. You do? Can you share briefly? Anything?
Can you remember
Three words. They had fun. All right. Well, you know, and yes, sir. You have an experience or a memory from summer camp you'd like to share?
I grew up in Michigan. I got to attend the Baptist meeting. And one of the big things I got to do was sign my name, massive white folder, because it was at camp. I gave my heart.
Wow. Amazing. Thank you for sharing that. That's amazing. I too remember vividly an experience from summer camp. I used to do week specialty camps, and you know, one week I'd want to be a ballerina, the next week I'd want to be a gymnast. Well, I remember vividly this one camp where, for some reason, I think I was obsessed with majorettes because it was a baton twirling camp. Literally the whole week, all we did was twirl batons. And I remember the exact moment that I learned how to flip the baton up in the air, twirl it, turn around and catch it. I mean, to this day, it still makes me smile. That might sound like a small thing to some people, but for some reason, that was extremely important to me. So thinking about that, we all know if you really had the experience, summer camp can create experiences that last a lifetime. Summer camp studies have been done that show, like one particular study pulled 5,000 camps, 92 families, and it confirmed the transformative impact that summer camp does have on youth. And it showed that attending camp results in significant growth in very key areas, which are self-confidence, independence, social skills, exploring and learning new activities, and even spirituality, as we heard. Campers themselves in the study overwhelmingly confirmed these same results, as did their parents. But let me ask you for a moment, is attending summer camp a reality for everyone? Well, the first thing we have to consider is the cost. You know, summer camps range anywhere from $200 to $5 a week, and that's not even counting the specialty camps that can be higher. And there's additional expenses like gear, transportation, optional activities that have to be considered in that number. Also, studies have confirmed that there's a lower participation from lower income and youth from diverse backgrounds. So we wonder why that is. Well, there's a variety of factors. First, of course, if you are from a low income family, you are typically from a family that is worried about taking care of the basics. So something additional, there's just no budget for. Also, many families lack transportation just to get around. So going to a camp that's in a remote area is out of the question. And then there are families that maybe just don't have any idea of the resources, how to enroll, or what to do with their children. Oftentimes, we've found that camps can operate within a dominant cultural framework. And families from diverse backgrounds may really be hesitant to send their children to a summer camp because they're worried about their children fitting in. There may not be trustful for the camp environment, and they also may have a fear of a stigma for their group. Something to think about is the third grade switch. I don't know if anyone is an educator or family of educators. Has anyone heard of the third grade switch in the room? This is something very profound. And I just remember going to school feeling like the work got harder in third grade, but I didn't know why. And there's actually a reason. You see, from grades K through 2, children are actually learning to read. They're learning how to read. But then in the third grade, there's a fundamental switch where children are now having to be able to read to continue to learn. So children with this shift in focus, children at risk youth, especially struggle with just being able to learn to read. So if they haven't been able to learn to read at this point, how are they going to continue to learn? It's a definite problem. And children of low-income youth have very low proficiency rates oftentimes, and are very different from their peers. This leads us to a very dark place. Illiteracy and crime are very deeply connected. It's staggering when you read the statistics. Over 70% of the inmates in America's prisons today don't read beyond a fourth grade level. There are many statistics. It seems like a lot, but they're all pretty profound. 2/3 of students that cannot read proficiently by the end of the fourth grade will end up in jail or 85% of the juveniles in the court system do struggle with low literacy. And juvenile incarceration lowers high school completion chances and increases their chance of ending up incarcerated. High school dropouts are 5 times more likely than their peers to be arrested, and they face a 63% higher incarceration rate in college. So that's a lot of statistics, but that's if you think about it, it's astounding to think about the direct correlation between receiving that important affirmation and ability to be able to read at the 3rd grade level and where you end up in life. There's also additional racial disparity and systemic issues that play into this. About 70% of Black 4th through 8th graders were not proficient in their end of grade reading exams, as opposed to 40% of their Caucasian peers. And children with low literacy rates then are very embarrassed. They're ashamed, and they oftentimes act out. And that leads to a lot of different places, and the statistics are staggering that Black Americans make up only about 13% of the population, but make up about 70% of incarcerated. So that brings us to what can we do about it? What can we do to help mitigate this? And that brings me to a good place, a history worth telling. So Peter Lewis, I'm not sure how many of you may be familiar with Peter or have heard of Peter. You raise your hands if you've heard of Peter Lewis. Yeah, thank you. He's had I can't even describe the impact that he's had on our community and our community's youth. I'm just very humbled to get this chance, but I'll tell you briefly, and it's hard to do. Peter is from Washington, D.C. He calls Washington, D.C. proper, the very urban part of Washington, D.C. And he considers himself fortunate enough to have been able to spend transformative summers with his aunt in her dairy barn in rural Virginia, outside Warren, very rural area. He said it's very similar to actually our farm in Floyd County. And he just, describes the experiences you can see, being in the city, maybe something similar to a concrete jungle as we can get near Virginia, and then going to beautiful oasis and spending time in the country and in nature, and the transformative impact that had on him as a young person. Well, later on in life, Peter grew up and he became an educator, and he was still in the Washington, D.C. area. And, he learned about the disparity that was facing youth and the systemic issues that were happening. And he wanted to do something about it. So at a period of time, he went to a jail, Lorton Jail. It's no longer open, but he had a mentoring program there that he spearheaded to try to help young men in prison. But he realized it had to start much earlier. So he pulled from the experiences that he had going to visit his aunt in her dairy barn. And then he decided how wonderful it would be to be able to expose children to a safe environment where they could learn more about themselves, explore nature, and just get beyond their circumstances in their neighborhoods, only for a little while. Well, let's learn a little bit about Apple Ridge Farm. I'm actually going to play a video, but this history worth telling is Peter actually landed on property in Floyd County, and what we know now as Apple Ridge Farm is everybody's familiar and has been to Floyd County. It's indescribable how much green. You talk about St. Patrick's Day. Floyd County is all about the green and the seasons. I love the fall there, but especially right now, it's just so beautiful and green out there in the county. So he found the farm and was able to get the community behind it. Peter personally funded and started Apple Ridge Farm. Actually, he purchased property and acreage and donated a portion of that property. And that's how Apple Ridge began in the very beginning. So it's just amazing the passion and the desire and the actions that Peter took to make sure that there was a wonderful space for children. So I can tell you about it all day long, but let's take a look and see about Apple Ridge.
Apple Ridge Farm is a nonprofit organization dedicated to transforming the lives of our community for children and families through engagement in unparalleled education, cultural, and outdoor experiences. Founded in 1978 by educator and visionary, Apple Ridge has always been safe for our most active from its home. Over the last 35 years, Apple Ridge Farm has served over 80,000. The organization is becoming cornerstone, closing the educational team, instilling the always free of charge to our students and their families. Apple Ridge Farm is perhaps best known for its academic summer. Apple Ridge also operates programs both at the farm and in the school. We offer environmental education, team building experience, market outside, and in-school programming, like our mentoring program, Inspire Minds, and our 21st Century School program. We believe that academic support and success are essential components in positively building self-esteem. With stronger self-esteem, our children will believe in the possibility. Our job is to see them as the amazing and nurture them. Thank you for coming along with us.
So that's a brief video, but it's like, how can I describe that? Where do you find the words? And it's even different when you see Apple Ridge in person, especially when there's a program going on and you have children that come to the farm who have never been outside of Roanoke City, who have never been outside of their environment. It's amazing. We mentioned in the video what we have at the farm, but just briefly to go over, what started as a very humble beginning of a dairy barn that was pretty dilapidated. Now it's just amazing with the community support. What we have at the farm. We have high roads, we have low roads, the climbing tower, hiking trail, swimming pool, multi-purpose courts. We have football field. There's so many things, and our children definitely enjoy what we have to offer. We also have a dark sky observatory that wasn't mentioned in the video. That's one of my favorites. It's a solar observatory. So it's kind of hard to operate during the day unless we have an overnight camp and a clear sky, but it is just an amazing tool. And we also have an off-grid e-based class, which teaches environmental sustainability for the children because it's completely solar and wind. So amazing things with the community support we've been able to do at the farm. Our mission statement is, as JC mentioned, to transform the lives of our community's underserved youth by engaging them in unparalleled educational, cultural, and outdoor experiences. Those three factors, all three of them are very important to Apple Ridge Farm. Who do we serve? Well, we serve 95% of the children we serve live in public housing. We have a community network with the Roanoke Housing Authority, and we identify the families that are the most vulnerable. And we serve primarily those children in our academic summer camp program first. 100% of our campers fall below the 200% of the federal poverty line. So we serve the most vulnerable of children who need a place to go for the summer. How does Apple Ridge Farm reduce barriers? We talked about barriers to some families attending summer camp. Well, we make our programs accessible because we don't charge. We do not charge the children, their families to come to Apple Ridge Farm. We solve the transportation challenges because we provide round trip bus transportation to our day camp every day from Roanoke to Copper Hill and back. We have very experienced drivers that take good care of the children. But if you know anything about going up that mountain, that's not a small thing. We have a very simplified enrollment. It's a one-page online enrollment, and it is coming up. If you know of anyone, it is coming up March the 24th. So it's right around the corner. And once our enrollment opens, it is full within 2 days max, maybe 1 day. It just depends. So that's one of the things that we wish we could serve everybody forever, but we take 120 kids per summer that we serve for 5 weeks. So it fills very quickly if you know of a family to recommend. Apple Ridge Farm is an advocate for outdoor education. We believe in teaching children to become good environmental stewards. Very passionate about that, and educating children and also the community about environmental sustainability. We also believe that children need mirrors and windows. Children should be able to have an opportunity to see the world in their learning and also see a reflection of themselves when they learn. So we're very insistent on cultural competence at Apple Ridge Farm. We have an environment where our campers come to a place where others look, speak, and come from similar backgrounds as they do. We intentionally hire our staff that understands deeply some of the problems that diverse population experiences. And the families have a bond and a relationship. I'm not sure if anyone want to continue name dropping knows Jordan Bell. Jordan Bell is very active in the community, especially the community that we serve, and is a strong advocate in building a strong relationship with the children. And he is our program director. He's heavily involved in building relationships. And really cultural awareness is woven into everything we do, down to even the subjects that we teach. We have a program that's called Melanated Mathematics. It is a wonderful program that intertwines African-American history, even with math. As you're teaching math, it's profound the way that it's done. We have arts and culture, celebrations and teachings. This year we're having DJ Lark teach up at the farm, arts and crafts. If you've ever had a chance to spend some time with her, it's a very, very exciting experience. We have morning mindfulness and conversations with campers where we allow them to speak freely about some of the things that they're having challenges with and try to work on solutions to problems. So that brings us to our programs and exactly what our programs are. I mentioned academic summer camp. So that's the first of the programs. And that's the one that if you know about Apple Ridge Farm, you probably have heard of our academic summer camp. It's a 6-week long day camp this year, Monday through Thursday. Again, we host about 120 students per season. And we have 2 programs. One is the Legacy Camp, where we serve the Apple Ridge kids, as we call them, most of the kids that come from Roanoke Public Housing, for 5 weeks straight. And then we also have a partner camper program where we serve kids from all over the valley and allow them to have an Apple Ridge experience. So last year, for instance, we had children from Boys and Girls Club, from YMCA, from Goodwill Youth Headquarters, from Humble Hustle and Imagine Me, from Straight Street, children from all over the valley. And we do not charge those children or their partner agencies. So our 2023 camp demographics, I discussed the partner agency campers. We had about 234 partner agency campers last season. And for our legacy campers, about 89% of them were African American, 7% were multiple races, 4% were Caucasian, 54% were female, 46% were male. And then you can also see how spread out the percentages are for the different age groups, which I love to see, because at one point it seemed like there were a lot of little kids, and the older kids, the young adults were not coming to summer camp, and that is not the case. Last year we saw a huge spike in teens, and that's exactly what we need right now, teens to be engaged. And 98% of the children in summer camp come from Roanoke City, 2% from other areas. So we're very, very strong as a force. We also have the environmental education program. This program is exciting. Most of what happens with this program, of course, it's seasonal. We have programs in the fall and the spring, because of course, weather permitting. We serve about 1,000 children last year in this program. And we have different program offerings: aquatic ecology, forest ecology, water systems. There's a skulls program. If you see, this young man is holding, I thought it was a salamander, but I was told it's a newt. Child informed me it is a newt, not a salamander. And they learn about the life cycle, for instance. So this young man, he just, instead of opening up a book and reading about salamanders or newts and what the difference is, he took his net, he reached down, he pulled out a newt, he saw eggs, he saw so many different things, and he learned about the stages, the life cycle. And the environmental educators are very passionate, and they're wonderful to hear, and they describe how that relates to them and humans and the earth as a whole. So we really do, we do customize the field trips to each group, and we give them real life experience. Did you know that the average American child spends about 8 to 10 hours a day in front of screens, but only spends about 4 to 7 minutes a day in unstructured play outside? So we're not talking about football, track, if you're enrolled in something, but just going outside. Kids don't go outside anymore, you know? So this is a problem, because kids who play outside perform better in a variety of activities: creativity and imagination, critical thinking skills, physical coordination and strength. There's so many skills. And child development specialists recommend that children be outside for 3 hours a day. No. At a minimum, 60 minutes improves physical and mental well-being. So we started the Get Outside program. This program, actually, these stats were before COVID, so I don't even want to know what they are now. But we started this program right after COVID, and when we could allow, outside was one of the first things you could do. You could have activities outside. So we found that children were just yearning for outside and interaction and social interaction. And we do the team building exercises. We run the high ropes and the low ropes courses. We teach communication, the hiking and the aquatic ecology we just spoke of. And we offer those free to groups that want to come to it. So this Get Outside program really stresses the benefits that we talked about for outdoor education. And I'm not going to go over all of these, but it's interesting when you really read into the benefits. One of the ones that stood out to me is that it has been proven that spending time outdoors has been shown to even reduce stress, anxiety, and symptoms of ADD and ADHD. So it really goes further than most of us think. We aim to cultivate a generation of environmentally literate and engaged individuals. And then our final program that we have right now is Aspire Mindset. Aspire Mindsets is a wonderful mentorship program. And I kind of compare it to big brothers and big sisters in a way, because what we do is we operate in Roanoke City schools 2 times a week. And we have mentors and staff members that will have lunch with the students. that will work on character building, behavioral development, self-esteem, how to make better choices, just simply having a conversation with you, letting them know that somebody cares. Sometimes some of the mentors will go to the basketball games, the track, somebody will be there for a youth that may not have others that are in their corner supporting them and cheering them on. And it has been proven that it reduces behavioral incidents in school just to have someone involved, a role model that they know cares and that their behavior really does make a difference. So we talked about a little bit about the programs that we have. About 300 children per year attend summer camp. About 1,000 children per year are engaged in our environmental education programs. Right now, we have 50 students enrolled in Aspire Mindsets mentorship program, and we serve anywhere. It's an ongoing number, but last year we served 150 children with our Get Outside program. So let's I started a little early, but let's see what it means to a camper to come to Apple Ridge Hall.
Where I got involved in different programs of Boys and Girls Club and Operating Farms, and one that I never expected. When I was a kid, some of the things I did in my neighborhood was like ride bike, ride scooters, common senses, other common things that I never did up high enough. Play with Buffalo, with big pop classes. I was really outdoors. Wasn't a lot of indoors. The first time I ever came to Apple Ridge, I was about 6 years old, and I remember being at the apartment complex office with all the other kids excited to get on the bus. We got on the bus, and then it was like a long road drive up the mountain. It's so green, and it's a eye-changing event, and we've never really been outside. When I got to Apple Ridge, some of the things that we were read, we would spend time outdoors, hiking, we would do art and crafts. We got to pick apples from the apple tree. Different people would come in and talk with us. We had a computer program where we learned about floppy disks, or basically antiques. Apple Ridge kind of helped me prepare for my first visit to just the structure of how we did it. It was like a flowing system that we learned different things all day. Growing up, after I left Orange Park, I attended freshman middle school where I was involved in sports, a big part of outdoor. Then I went to swimming. I was still involved in sports. So I went to Roanoke University where I was my CSW, and I have been a social worker working with children and families. Currently in life, I am a social worker. My day job is the clothes and makeup administrator. So every day I just show up and I don't know where I'm going to be, but wherever it is, I know it'll be in a class. My experience with Apple Ridge as a kid the adult I have today as part of my practice. Your role adults care about you, it makes you want to one day get that back. That is one of the reasons why I'm here at Apple Ridge now, counseling for my second year. I value being an input in the kids' lives when they come up to me with a whole new experience they might not see in their I'm proud of the adult that I have been. But reflecting back on it, it truly was a privilege. So I want to thank everyone that helped with this process. I hope that you can still support this current program that we're
So it's just like, I mean, it could go on and on. I'm going to have to wrap, but if you have time to go to our Facebook page, please like us. There's just like I think I've heard about people presidents and becoming a Kiwanian. You're a Kiwanian for life. You're an Apple Ridge kid for life once you come to Apple Ridge Farm. And it's amazing the number of campers that come back and continue to be a part of Apple Ridge. Our camp director, our summer camp director and program director, Gordon Bell, is an Apple Ridge kid. Many of our camp counselors are Apple Ridge kids. And I am now finding grandchildren whose grandparents came to Apple Ridge, their daughter came to Apple Ridge, and now their grandchild is coming up to Apple Ridge Farm. So it's amazing to me the impact that Apple Ridge Farm has been able to have in the community. And just to talk a little bit, everybody knows how nonprofits are funded. I can skip that. Ways to help. So there's a lot of different ways that you can help if you're interested. Obviously, volunteering, speaking at camp, renting out one of our properties. We do offer up our property to support our mission. We have Airbnb, caboose cars that are refurbished, wedding rentals, all kinds of beautiful things at the farm that you could take part in and help support. Arrange a tour of your group, your church, your friends. I would love to bring you to the farm and show you in person what the farm is. So let me ask, does anyone have any questions? I can answer them. Yes, Jeannie. So the question was, is it a tough sell to do an outdoor camp for urban families? You would think it is, but it is absolutely not. I think that there is a longing for the outdoors. There's a longing. You think about if you've grown up in public housing and you've never been outside of Roanoke, there's a longing for new experiences and maybe a little bit of a fear. I think that's fair to say of any camp experience, but that's part of the beauty of it. By the end of camp, they're just exhilarated and have learned some accomplished their fear. Yeah. Okay. I think I'm going to continue questions after the meeting because we have to wrap.
Yeah, thank you for agreeing to stay a few minutes after the meeting. It's no surprise there's questions. There's a tremendous overlap between your mission and ours, both with reading, youth, environment. So we appreciate that overlap. Let's give a round of applause. And it's my pleasure to give you an honorarium made out to Apple Ridge Farm. Take your picture. Thank you again. After the meeting, you're going to do several things. Some of you will come up here to speak further with Apple Ridge Farm. Several of you are going to show up tomorrow to help spread mulch on Mill Mountain Playground. And next week, you're going to come back here. J.C. Taylor is going to introduce Roanoke City Sheriff Antonio Ash. With that,
Right on time, Mike. Perfect. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. Thank you.